locked up. Already got Pro Tour locked up. Just playing for just $20,000 again, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, money in the bank, but a love of the game also. Ready to battle here. And, of course, this is also one of the prizes you get, too, when you do well in an event. You're at a Pro Tour, you win the Pro Tour, you're always the feature draft at the next Pro Tour. Here we see the winner in round one no matter what. And, a little bit of a celebration to Peter. Congrats on his finish.
Yeah.
Winning a tournament that's over 1,000 players is unbelievable.
And this is usually when you get completely wrecked in your first match, right?
I wasn't going to say it. But.
Okay, so we have the namesake artifacts here from both players. We got the turn 1 amulet from Peter. I would assume signed by himself, as is the amulet master. And we have grinding station here from Tyler representing, if you have third land, 0 drop artifact plus breach, we can have a turn 3 from Tyler already. And sometimes, Jim, this is 2 ships passing in the night when it comes to game 1.
That's what this looks like here so far.
Yeah.
Both players are doing the thing. Both players are online, And you're right. The 2 mana on grinding station, the initial cost up front, it can be a roadblock to comboing. So getting this in play on turn 2 means turn 3 now, a lot of mana available to kind of just do your thing. And then Peter's going to need to find something to do here. We see winning the die roll is a pretty big game, too. So Tyler's got a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I see a Simic Growth Chamber. I see a Prime Time in hand for Peter. Looks like an Echoing Deeps as well. There's the Celestial Sanctuary, just getting some land up, and has a Dryad as a follow-up. And wow, okay, this is very telling. Dryad untapped when you had a forest to play where you didn't have to give yourself a mana disadvantage. That would be screaming to me a Boseiju.
Yeah, now this, of course, could be a Boseiju.
Yeah.
Or it could be hey, I'm going to lose next turn. You better think I have Boseiju.
Yes.
And which is what I would expect from a high-level player like Peter.
Yeah, and Peter, even without having a forest in play, with that Celestia Sanctuary that we know about, and being able to play an extra land from Dryad, we're all ready to go for prime time. So, I would think Tyler has to recognize that as well. Like, yeah, I could go for it, and maybe you have the Boseiju and I can't win this turn, but what's the alternative? You just lose,
Yeah, and you can see the squeeze here. Look on Tyler's face. We're here we are, and this is also the pairing-wise on Tyler's side. Tyler's playing round 1, which should be an easy round in theory. It's your first round. I'm playing against the champ.
Yeah.
And here we are in turn 3. This is a huge decision. Do I try and go for it? Peter is saying, I've got Boseiju. Do you want to go for it? But, like you're saying, Titan come down as well. So.
Yep. Oh, and there's a Boseiju from Tyler. So they made a conscious decision to not hold that up here. And there is the WinCon, station number 2, the most beautiful bolt I've ever seen in my life, and a Breach. So Breach is found. Breach can be played, but with no mana available, you do need a little bit more help.
Yeah, a little bit of a setup turn here, and then now we'll see if Peter can untap and really do the thing. You know? And once Titan comes into play, the ability to search a Boseiju in a bounce land, put the Boseiju into your hand, and have the mana available to use it. Now we're in territory where you almost can't go off with limited resources, and there's a huge threat in play too.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so an Aether Spellbomb, the one of Urza Saga target with blue mana available. There's Tyler's form of defense here. Peter didn't want to go for a Boseiju if we even had it.
It's one of the crazy things about these decks is these one-ofs. When you have decks that are just full of one-ofs, it's hard to play around. Just, there's just the one spell bomb here. Didn't consider that. Oh, there's just this here and that here. So a weird defensive measure, but will be effective.
Yep, 100%. You kind of would rather have the one of Haywire Might here to deal with that amulet.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly. So, goes for the bounce on the Dryad. This is pretty nice. This does also prevent the kind of face-up Titan of just 2 lands, untap, do it. So now Peter will need a little more help, maybe some grazers. And this is where, playing that extra sanctuary where you don't have a forest in play here could be costly.
For sure, yeah. Now down 1 mana, and now it's interesting. Both players looked primed to go off, but have been reduced to setup turns. You saw a Rumble on Tyler's side, and now we're going to see a replay of a Dryad or some other setup mechanism on Peter's side, barring some sort of ridiculous sequence to cast a Titan.
Yeah. So we might see the exact play. Aether Spellbomb might have just been Time Walk. Now the one difference is you do have that 1 extra land in play. So now even if Dryad were to go away, we do still have a Primeval Titan all ready to go.
So Boseiju's still up. Both players set up a little more, but similar scenario to last turn.
Yeah. So now we know we have Breach in hand from Tyler. So they as long as they have a 0-drop, can just go for it. Now, the one thing that's a little awkward is they do have 2 essentially forests. So if you do not have the perfect mana here, it might be a little more difficult.
It's kind of funny how this is just almost the exact same turn.
Yeah.
You know, like, we'll just do this turn again. And it's funny because it was a real crux turn of like, ooh, boy, you could see Tyler's kind of hemming and hawing, you know.
Yeah.
And then we're just doing that same crux turn again, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's the tension of Modern, you know. I mean, there's been certain times that, you know, through our Modern careers where Modern has been this very aggressive turn 3 format. Infect, you know, Storm, all this kind of really fast decks. There's been times when it's been dominated by control decks. And now we're kind of back in this combo paradise where Amulet and Breach kind of reign supreme. But
I like how you say paradise.
Yeah. It's a nightmare for some.
Paradise for some, but
Can you tell I'm a combo lover?
Yes, I had gotten that inkling from the last hour or so, but yeah, for sure.
So it looks like we have a preordain.
A little more setup, a little more deliberation.
All right, so preordain finds some goods. There is a Misty. And now we do know that there is still Breach. And if we do have just like Bobble and Mox Opal, something like that, it's all ready to go. But you got to think. Tyler's got to be like, okay, you've held up this 2 mana the whole time. You're not bluffing round 1 of a regional championship, are you?
Would the champ do that?
Yes.
You're right. The champ would do that.
Yes, he would.
The problem is, though, can Tyler afford to wait?
Yeah.
You know, now with 2 bounce lands in play and a ton of mana available next turn, Titan is almost a foregone conclusion, whether it be a natural Titan, a pacted Titan, or a Zenith Titan. So there are a lot of Titans in Peter's deck. So can you afford to wait? It's tough.
I don't think so, especially with Dryad in play. Like, maybe just one Titan's not going to finish you off if there's no Dryad in play. But the fact that you can go Titan, give it haste, and do the Valakut Vesuva trick, you know, like, there's a ton of damage here. So I love this. Get it going. Get busy.
It's Breach time.
It's Breach time.
Our first of many.
Yeah, 100%.
Ooh, I like this.
Okay, so that screams to me that we are not all ready to go. Now, we will need to hit, if there's no 0-drop from Tyler, you know, we will need a 0-drop here to be able to do this. And it looks like Tyler has recognized that they have the pressure on. If they can't win this turn, they're probably not going to do it.
Yeah, interesting spot here. So land drop for the turn is used. We need some sort of fast mana to kind of keep going. And then a lot of the potential for this turn is very variable. Like one of the top 4 cards of the deck, top 3 cards of the deck. And again, do you go for it? You know, this is the combo players. You know, the really, really good combo players excel in these spots. They just know when to go for it, know when to wait, know when to set up, and it's very, very difficult facing down, obviously, round 1, and, of course, the pressure of what's happening with your opponent.
100%. And it does look like, you know, if we can sack this Bobble and hit any 0-drop, we should be good to go. Because you can get a Bobble, because you can get a Mox, anything, eventually you will hit 2 0-drops. Eventually you will hit 2 0-drops, and you will be able to get it going, but no 0-drop on the top 3, so Breach did not connect, and now Peter gets to just have a good time, and there was no Beseiju on the Breach, so Peter was bluffing. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, is there a chance that Peter just didn't think that it was going to keep going there, you know? Like, was it worth not using yet? But either way, prime time.
Yeah. All right, what are we going to get? What do we start with here, Jim?
Oh, boy, put me on the spot here. So prime time's going to go. Beseiju is a big one here. The Battlements first. Battlements give it haste. I guess, like, we were discussing the kind of defensive Titan turn. Yeah. But we could see a more offensive turn here with the Battlements. Giving haste, getting 2 more lands, and then the Dryad used to be like a major part of this deck. Used to be a lot of Dryads in the deck. Now there's only 1, but we can still see that Dryad kill with Valakut and allows all the lands to come to play as mountains. Each one is worth a bolt, and at 14 life, that's not going to be even close to enough, including the attack as well. So
yeah. Absolutely. So the Valakuts, the haste, we were going to have 2 more lands come into play, like good old Vesuva there. My brain can't count that high. especially this early in the morning.
For sure, yeah. And then it's cool to see because the Valakut Dryad part of the deck has become more of a side note. It used to be kind of the main course. It used to be 4 Dryads of a deck, and that was kind of your primary win condition. But now there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on with Aftermath Analyst and Lotus Field. We'll probably see that a little bit.
Back in my day, we had to give it +2/+0 and then give it double strike and hope your opponent fetched.
Yeah, hope they were at 18.
And we liked it. If they gained 3 life, the game was over. Okay? All right, so starting with Tyler Barnett's list, what are we sideboarding in for them?
There's a lot to worry about here because this is more so Tyler sideboarding against Peter's sideboard rather than the main deck. So again, we're open deckless. So Tyler sees Force of Vigor, Bajuka Bog, the Endurance, the Oofs. The Oofs a big one, right? Because normally spot removal spells like Lightning Bolt and Friends wouldn't be great against this deck, but you got to have outs. Big one here too is on Tyler's side is Dress Down.
Oh yeah,
this is a deck where all the creatures are really, really important. Dress Down can turn off 2 triggers on Titan. Can turn off the Oof for a turn if you need to. You can end step it and then go off and untap. So we got that going on. The second win condition is in the main deck, or
I was actually just looking at that. I don't think we have a second win con.
Wow.
All
right.
No second win con. I mean, look what just happened in that game from Tyler. Tyler just naturally milled over that Grape Shot. If Peter just had a bog at any point, no combo.
Yeah.
This is risky. Oh, the Oracle is in the main. Okay, never mind. Okay. Just had 2 in the main. I missed the Oracle. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think going into this tournament with only 1 win condition would be a extremely bold move.
Yeah, it really would be.
Unmitigated gall. But yeah, so we're going to see a really messy game 2 here. Really messy game 2 of, sideboard cards fighting against sideboard cards. And I think this is going to be an uphill battle for Tyler. Peter has already a pretty good main plan of both Titan to either win the games we just saw or to set up for some Sage use. But now with all these sideboard cards too, it's a lot to fight through.
Yep, totally is. One thing I want to talk about though, Jim, I don't know. I mean, of course we got a lot of constructed fans here, but I know there are a lot of limited fans out here in the wild. We got to talk about our next event that's coming up. This is the Spotlight Series. We are heading to Denver, Colorado, April 11th through the 13th. This is Magic Spotlight Dragons, and this is going to be release weekend for our new set that is going to be awesome. We are heading back to Tarkir for Dragonstorm Limited. Did you play a lot of Limited during the first Tarkir, or...
A good amount, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm limited player. I love playing limited. I started playing Magic way back in the day, mostly playing limited. And there's nothing like a week 1 limited format. Where
it's amazing.
It's, we don't have all of our 17 lands data yet. It's just sort of like, go there, open some cards, evaluate them, and build your deck.
Yes.
And, if you feel like you're a good limited player, you feel like you have a huge edge of the event, it's super fun. It's awesome.
It's going to be great. So this is, one of the biggest limited tournaments we've seen, post-COVID, for sure. I mean, we have not seen big limited to this scale in a very long time. Spotlight Series, for a reminder for everyone, we've played one in Atlanta. These Spotlight Series events, top 8, straight to the Pro Tour. There's no coming to the RC, anything like that. And for, a lot of people that, let's say, have some real jobs, some big boy jobs that they have to get to, don't have time to grind the RCQs into the RCs. Come to the Spotlight, top 8, straight to the Pro Tour, and you could, get lucky like my co-commentator and just string those Pro Tour invites together, and you could be on the train.
I'm so happy there's an event again where you can just walk in the door, pay an entry fee, and by the end of the day, walk out with an invite.
Yeah.
Having that is so important to Magic, being an aspirational game. Just great. Super excited.
Yeah, it is absolutely awesome. I'm going to try to attend this one.
Me too.
Really do anything I can to be able to attend that one. I love Sealed. Sealed is my literal favorite format.
I want a draft. For me, the Sealed is the gateway to a draft on day 2. There's nothing like a called draft. At a Pro Tour or a high-level event, where it's for folks that haven't done a called draft before, it's so much more organized, regimented, and it just feels really important and cool.
There's no cooler moment. I haven't been a part of them personally for the last couple of years since I've been commentating the Pro Tours, but that 9 a.m. hush that comes over the Pro Tour, it is just like, whoa, what happened?
Players, pick up your pack.
Yeah.
You have 45 seconds.
Oh, man.
It's great.
You see people's eyebrows perk up. That just opened a bomb. You see the sweat coming down the temple for players. There's nothing like better. So, make sure to come up to Denver to join us for our second Spotlight here of the Spotlight Series. It's going to be really, really exciting. So, all right. Game number 2 of a very, very long tournament for these players. What does Peter have to do, or excuse me, what does Tyler have to do to kind of break serve here and get back into this?
Tyler's got to do their own thing. They need to be able to kind of execute. We saw in that last game a lot of setup. There were multiple turns where it looked like Tyler had a chance to kind of start going off, even in the face of possible Boseiju, but it was just setup and then more setup and then more setup, and you can't really afford to do that in the face of a fast clock, and now, of course, all of his interaction too. So be able to do your own thing and then have the proper countermeasures for the cards coming in on Peter's side. Yeah,
I also feel like Tyler got a little unlucky there. Like having 11 zero drops, just having one of those in hand would have been able to combo off, would have milled with the spell bomb into one of them, would have had enough, because we had the 4 cards in the yard. One of them was a grape shot, so that's going to have to be separated. I guess we do have the Oracle, so we could have won in a different way. But if you hit any zero drop from milling that spell bomb, you have those 4 cards, then plus the spell bomb, 3 other cards. We're going to have 8 cards in yard. So if you hit 1 zero drop, you bring that back. Now you have 4 cards in yard, and you keep milling until you hit 2 zero drops.
Right.
And then one's the Mox Opal, you were able to generate mana. So Tyler had a good amount of opportunities to hit it and just couldn't get there.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Game number 2 between these players. And, of course, we're going to be showing you some backup matches as well. We got 3 matches in our feature match area. You get 2 of those real ones. You get the third one where you sit in the back table. You're very close. You know that you're doing well enough to knock on the door of one of these feature matches.
It's a feature match in spirit.
Yes.
You are present. You are in the feature match area. No one can see you or knows what you're doing, but you are there,
Yeah, absolutely.
This is exciting, too. This is like round 1, the early rounds we usually see, maybe see some brews, stuff like that, too. But getting into, the real thick of it here, this is going to be a large part of the event. Amulet Titan, Breach. These are the decks that players need to beat going through it. It's a long tournament. You can go into a 6-round local tournament and be like, I'm just going to dodge Breach.
Yeah.
Or I'm just going to dodge whatever. 15 rounds, you ain't dodging nothing. All right?
Absolutely. I would be very curious if, the way that we have our ban announcements set up, that they are kind of scheduled now, a little different than what we've had in the past. I'd be curious how much that has affected the numbers for the deck. If it is just we have our ban list at a random time, kind of like what we've seen in the past.
Sure.
You think that would increase the numbers or?
I maybe decrease because
there's
an inherent amount of fear where I know that if I bought Amulet, if I bought Breach for this tournament, it's illegal for this tournament and up until a certain point. Whereas if Monday morning the walls might just fall down, oops, sorry, your deck is banned. That's a little more scary. But it's tough either way. It's tough to invest. It's not a cheap deck,
Yeah.
And investing in a deck is going to get banned, are you willing to spend that extra $1 to give yourself the best chance to win the tournament?
Yeah.
And there's also the opportunity cost of learning the deck.
Yeah.
Playing against the hate. This is not a deck you can just pick up and play. It requires some work.
It's truly the most complicated deck that I've ever played.
Yeah.
And I've been playing it for 2-3 years or whatever. And, it was like this last RCQ season. I learned something new about the deck. I thought I had fully learned.
Yeah.
I'm still making mistakes in games because Magic is hard. It's tough to always be thinking about everything. But I thought I at least knew every interaction. And then I, heard a podcast where you can consign your Breach trigger, and then you can consign during your opponent's turn. My brain exploded. I was hyped to hear that. Shout out to Edgar Magaish and Nassif, who I heard that from, which was really awesome.
Edgar's quite good. Yeah, and the thing is, there's also learning the deck, but it's not just learning how to play the deck.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to play against the sideboard hate.
Yes.
And that's the challenging part for a lot of folks is it feels unfair.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean my artifacts don't have any abilities? What do you mean I have no graveyard?
Yeah.
What do you it's like, wait, what? So having to fight through that is both challenging and a skill in and of itself.
Yeah, quit taking away my toys.
Yeah, exactly,
All right, so it looks like we see a mulligan here at least to 6. This might have been to 5 here from Tyler. It looks like 5. And the one thing that's kind of nice about Breach is, well, when you mulligan to 6 or 5, you almost always have a card you want to put back. Either the Grinding Station, an Oracle, Grape Shot, maybe some of your Saga targets. And it looks like we did see a Grinding Station and a blue Spell Bomb, a couple zero drops in hand. But mulligan to 5, up against the champ, down a game, opponent's wearing a USA sweater. You got to feel intimidated.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's funny here, Corey in the booth just looking for any silver lining he can find with the breach deck. Well, you mulligan to 5. You get to put things back that you don't want. It's great. I love mulligan to 5. Breach is the best.
No. You're looking at it way wrong, Jim. The silver lining here is, wow, this breach deck does not look very good. I think it's totally safe and totally fair and totally reasonable.
Very fair. Someone rooting for breach to have a very poor weekend for sure.
I've been rooting for a poor weekend for months, and it just hasn't happened. All right, kicking it off here, we got a hedge maze to start off with a surveil. See if we want to keep it on top. And there's these couple different draws that you get from breach. The number one best draw you're hoping for is that critical mass of artifacts, the 3 artifacts mixed with the Mox Opal, Tamiyo, Emery, those kind of absurd draws.
Yeah.
That's the ideal draw, but when you mull to 5, that critical mass of things is not as possible.
Yeah, I played a local event on Monday. My opponent went, land, Mox, Bobble, other Mox, Emery, Tamiyo, like other Bobble. Like the whole 7 cards on the table, old school Affinity style.
Yes.
And it's like, oh yeah, not only is it like a combo deck, you can just do that too.
Yes. Combo deck, card advantage deck. You can go the long game with Construct. It's tough to attack when it does so many different things. So we see the Grazer throwing down an extra.
Important thing to note here is that the Boseiju is played as the land and then bounce to hand. So now Boseiju is face up for Tyler.
Okay, known information, and here is kind of this artifact draw. No land 2, it looks like, and Tyler did bin a Misty Rainforest, looking for something more important. And I love what Peter did there. I think, he still has a Boseiju upside down in his hand. You see this like, wow, why is he doing that? It is so your opponent knows this information, and so Peter keeps track of it, knowing that your opponent knows it.
I do the exact same thing.
Yeah. I don't, because I hate having my hand out of order.
This is the fear for Tyler, though, where we see the Zenith come down. There are only 2 quote-unquote collector oofs on the board, but there are a lot more than that available.
Yeah. And, man, I know you were I'm not sure if you were gaming or if you were in Portland at all. Maybe you didn't make that one to play in the RC?
No Portland for me, no.
Okay, yeah. But, I mean, we saw some games from Peter where it was just, turn 2, oof, like this, either naturally drawn or green sun, and then your opponent did not play Magic anymore.
Yep.
And it was like Peter had one of the worst draws I'd ever seen. I think it was in the top 4. Mulligan to 5, had a turn 2 oof. His opponent just did not play Magic, and oof went the distance, basically. Eventually, we found a Titan. And, I mean, that can happen. That's the tricky part of these amulet decks, because you really don't want to leave in Lightning Bolt.
Exactly, yeah.
Flame of Anor is not that great either. Of course, it can pick off an amulet, but you have to leave in some removal. So amulet's kind of doing the same thing breaches. It's pulling you a little thin with certain hate cards it has.
For sure. And then the variety of hate cards alongside the fact that a really good amulet draw can just get you on turn 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So, there's just a lot of factors here. And this is a really tough spot for Tyler, obviously, on the 5-card hand. And it's hard enough to put together the combo plus the proper interactive elements on 7. When you're at a low resource number on 5, it gets really, really difficult.
Yeah, there's some games when you are just like, I'm done. And here we go. We're playing a pointless grinding station, that doesn't even have the ability to do anything. And looking on the other side, I think I saw Force of Vigor plus another Green Sun Zenith.
Oh, my God.
From Peter. Plus we know about the Boseiju. The champ came to play against Breach, it looks like.
Wisely.
Yeah. And, I do think this matchup's very close. I don't think anyone is severely favored. I think it's kind of 55% in one of the directions. And it kind of varies by the list.
Yeah.
Now,
the playing at the station there, it's not blank. The one of the opportunity costs we were saying in game 1 was the 2 mana to actually put the station in play.
Yeah.
Being able to down payment that, and it looks very innocent. It's just kind of sitting there. So that down payment is made. So upon a possible future turn, we can see a bolt on the oof, and then the ability to go off as well. But Peter's all rolled up here.
Peter does look good to go. We got a nice little hand. I believe I see Escape Shift there in the middle. No amulet, though. I think that's the main thing we're missing. Might have a Spelunking. There's the Shifting Woodlands.
Yeah, Eagle Eye Corey over here.
Peter, luckily, Peter does play with a lot of alt arts, but, I spent a lot of time looking at his hand in the last RC. So
there you go.
Thankfully, Peter has not changed arts on his amulet list so far.
That would have been hilarious.
It would have been.
Just an absolutely, completely different list, all
Yes.
different arts. I would have a serious amount of respect for that.
I would too. I would too. Go, Peter.
Oh, we see the grape shot in hand 2 for Tyler. Another
Okay.
kind of like card that isn't really useful to your winning.
Yeah.
So this is tough.
I mean, not bad at all. If he can combine another spell to just grape shot down the oof, that'd be excellent.
That is true, actually. The
Yeah.
grape shot having utility, which is like you were saying earlier, is kind of cool. It's
Yeah.
a card that can do things in that regard.
No, I absolutely love grape shot as the win con. I think the main reason a lot of people go with Oracle, they're afraid of keeping track of storm count. It is just another annoying tax you have to keep track of when you're playing this deck, so I totally get it. But like if you're playing online where it keeps track of storm for you, just play the grape shot.
Yeah, very fair.
You heard it here first. From a washed-up Breach player that's now coming.
All right, well, we were saying the one thing missing was an amulet, and
Yeah.
there's an amulet, so...
Okay. So now we have the ability to untap. I want to say that's a Crumbling Vestige. Could be a bog as well. Okay. No graveyard. I'm gonna figure it out that it's a bog.
Yeah, as a Lord of the Rings bog, I believe.
Yes. yes.
Dead marshes or something like that.
Sure. Did have the ability to go for Escape Shift there and kind of start doing some silly things, but decided to not do that. And looks like Peter's holding up Force of Vigor to just hard cast the old-fashioned way, and then maybe just combine for a Titan draw next turn or Escape Shift. You know, I mean, the Escape Shift lines are pretty wild.
Yeah, there really isn't any pressure on Peter to do anything here either. You know, we saw in game 1 both players were really posturing and threatening their own combos, and there was a lot of posturing back and forth, like, do I have an answer? I'm ready to go off. Tyler's nowhere really near going off. You know, with the oof in play, the vigor in hand, there's a lot going on. Tyler has pieces to find also, so Peter's going to play it safe here. I think it's totally respectable.
I like it, because if Peter were to go for Escape Shift and you get it countered, Swan Song or something like that, and then Tyler untaps Lightning Bolt combos, you're like, wow. Right. I really chucked that one, you know?
Right. One of the things you're doing when you're winning is making sure you don't lose. Which sounds silly, but you don't want to turn that 95%er into the 5%er. You know, you want to make 100%. Sure you just lock it up, play super safe.
That's a very valuable lesson. You know, half the time people are like so far ahead, they're like, all right, I can see the finish line. I'm going to just play, you know, fast, get it done. And, I think the best players in the world slow down. And your opponent's like, come on, like, I'm dead, just do the thing. And you're like, hey, chill. Right. I want to make sure I don't screw this up, and that separates the good players from the great.
Right. The Redukes of this world never lose those games, and they win the games they aren't supposed to in those spots.
Exactly. All right, so Rumbles gets the Breach into hand, so we have the combo, and if it wasn't for that little oof, we'd be good to go here. So
it's also a Seiju in hand, too.
And a Force of Vigor.
Seijo and the Force and the oof.
Yeah, so if it wasn't for 9 different cards from Peter, Husisian, then we'd be good to go.
But this is the tournament, right? I mean, like, Breach can definitely win through this. You know, obviously Tyler's also on 5 cards. That's a bit of a disadvantage as well. But, you know, there's all these hate cards. There are all of them for a reason. You need to actually have all of them.
Yes.
You know, 4 hate cards is enough. You need 8. So this is going to be the tournament, this kind of battle between how powerful is this Breach deck, how much can it overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tyler did make a conscious decision there to not grape shot the oof. We played the Rumble, could have got rid of oof, and then just been done from there. But so Tyler, to me, is clearly indicating I have some interaction. But what's better than one amulet?
Definitely 2. This is where things get really, really silly.
Yeah. You go from your deck, like, with 1 amulet to, like, all right, this is doing some unfair stuff, to 2 amulet, you're like, okay, this is borderline not magic.
Yeah. 1 amulet makes the things go, but with 2 in play, we're going to see. I mean, with Escape Shift available also, we see the mana counters are coming out. Oh, yeah. It's time.
Okay. All right, Jim, we're going to put you to the test. What are we doing here? What's our first line of attack?
So with Escape Shift available, the goal is to go fish up your Shifting Woodland. You want to get your Mirror Pool. You want to get your Lotus Fields. Start generating mana, and then using Aftermath Analyst to bring all the lands back and keep doing it over and over again. So each time the lands come in, they untap multiple times because of the amulets, makes a bunch of mana. Mirror Pool will copy, let's see, let me read Mirror Pool here. Mirror Pool is going to copy the Titan.
There you go.
Right,
there you go. Right. Yeah.
So and then we also have the Teleria West, which get bounced with when you escape shift, so you can put the Teleria West into your hand. That can get Summoner's Pact. That can get Titan. Setting up the Analyst. There's a million ways this can go. Obviously.
Definitely.
With 2 amulets in play and all this mana, all roads lead to Rome.
Exactly. So we're probably going to see something from Peter here, where ideally he's going to try to play that Green Sun Zenith for 6, do a Titan, and then if you have 4 mana left over, the Green Sun were to get countered, then you can just scape shift and kind of do the absurd things. So we'll see what we're going to do here. A lot of untapping.
Yeah, the onus and ability to play safe here is on Peter, where Peter does not want to get blown up by a single counter spell or something like that. So plenty of resources able to kind of just go through it. You see Peter working through it. If Tyler wasn't there, this game would be over.
Yeah.
So Peter would just go, oh, I'll just do this, and that, we're done. But finding the right line through interaction, same idea, where it's a combo deck, you need to find a way to play through your opponent's hate or whatever it might be. This might be theoretical hate. We know Peter's pretty far ahead here, but...
Yep, absolutely. So drains the mana for a Green Sun for 6 and goes to just try to get a Titan here. There is a dress down. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
How about a 6/6?
Yep, you got a 6/6. Let's see if there is anything else that Peter can get. Dress Down is a card that we have not seen a lot of, especially in the Breach decks. It was kind of low-key one of the best cards against Breach, as kills constructs right away. And if your only win con was Oracle, you couldn't win through it, and you couldn't Haywire Might it. So it was a low-key one of the better cards against Breach, but it's also a universal effect, so it kills your own constructs, but in a matchup like Amulet, it's just not you don't want to make constructs against them anyways.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Force of Vigors in hand, the Besages in hand, could have maybe waited to have more mana up to play around that, but this is still a pretty good spot. Now, if Tyler didn't need to play the Dress Down defensively, it could have come in end step.
Yeah.
Stayed in, made the oof into a 2/2, and then possibly gone off as well.
So, Jim, one thing I'm seeing is I see that Force, I see that Beseju. No other green card.
Right.
And Beseju can't be channeled right now.
Yeah, this is definitely an odd shields down moment for Peter.
Yeah. Because it is, no legend or anything. So if Tyler can go, I saw Tameo. You go Tameo, Grape Shot the oof, have one more artifact. We could be, I guess you would need one more Opal and an artifact. So there's still some stuff that needs to be done, but...
this is a benefit of Tyler not Grape Shotting last turn.
Yes.
Because obviously it would have saved mana, but it gives Peter the information knowing that oof is not going to be there.
Yeah.
So Peter was able to take his shot, go for the Titan. It didn't work out, but I have his backup plan. Hey, oof is still in play.
Yeah.
I still have this thing ready to go. But now with the information that, Peter didn't know there's a Grape Shot to kill it, so this might actually open up a window for Tyler to really push this through.
Yeah, and Tyler actually had a sweet play. I don't know if anyone remembers the old Dress Down Luris days, which I was very fond of, but you can also just go end step Dress Down. It stays in during your turn. The oof doesn't work.
Yep.
Go to win there through a Grape Shot. But no, there extends the hand. Peter Husisian takes down round number 1, and wow, it just feels like an absolute flashback. Peter Husisian winning more matches of Magic here at the RC.